Department of Chemistry, Kadiraj College. I, Dr. Anindita Sheikh, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Kadiraj College, take this opportunity to welcome all our guests and participants to this international webinar on recent trends in chemistry, jointly organized by the Department of Chemistry, Kadiraj College. Our esteemed college was established on 4th September in the year 1950. Currently, we are offering honors in 13 different subjects, including 4 laboratory-based subjects. Over 3,000 students are enrolled with us presently. We have 46 faculty members of different expertise. Our faculties and students are involved in various types of social work and research for a very long time. And today we have the privilege to have with us Dr. Chandicharan Malakar, Dr. Dinobandhu Shor, Dr. Sunil Kumar Manna, and Dr. Pulokesh Bera as the resource persons who will be reflecting on the theme of this webinar. So at the very beginning, I would like to request our respected Principal Madam, Dr. Shoma Dotto, to deliver her welcome address. Please, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Am I audible? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
respected resource persons, faculty members, and my beloved students. Good morning and welcome to One Day International Webinar on Recent Trends in Chemistry, organized by Department of Chemistry and Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Kandiraj College, Kandi, Murshidabad. We are delighted to have with us Dr. Pulokesh Bera, Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry, Pashkura Bonamari College, Vidyasagar University, Paschim Mednapur. Sir, cordially welcome to this webinar as one of the renowned speakers. We are privileged with kind presence of Dr. Chandicharan Malakar, Assistant Professor in Chemistry, Department of Basic Science and Humanities, NIT Moripur. Sir, I extend my warm welcome to you. We are really glad to have with us Dr. Sunil Kumar Manna, Site, Laboratory of Immunology, Center for DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics, Hyderabad. Sir, hearty welcome to you. We are extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to address Dr. Dinobandhu Shor, Research Associate, Department of Chemistry, Texas A&M University. Cordially welcome to you, sir. On behalf of Kandiraj College and my own behalf, I welcome our resource persons, students, participants from different parts of our country and abroad. All basic life forms on Earth depend greatly on chemistry for their survival, including us. We experience a lot of situations in our daily life which relate to chemistry. As for example, photosynthesis, a process by which plants can synthesize or produce their own food by the chain of reactions. Dissolving sugar in water, formation of curd from milk, melting of ice, rusting of iron, burning of candle, coal, wood, etc. are different examples of chemical processes. Chemistry is a central science in all aspects of our life. Without chemistry, it would be extremely hard for us to live. We need chemistry and chemicals for everything we do, from toothpaste to different food, cleaners, energy, drugs, metal, textiles, cosmetics, paper, health, etc. Another area of chemistry is green chemistry, also called sustainable chemistry, and chemical engineering focused on the design of products and processes that minimize or eliminate the use of hazardous substances and generation of hazardous substances. While environmental chemistry focuses on the effects of polluting chemicals on nature, green chemistry focuses on the environmental impact of chemistry, including reducing consumption of non-renewable resources and technological approaches for preventing pollution. Plants and animals are mostly composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. These chemicals and how they are put together underlie everything around us. Chemistry is such a valuable tool for agriculture, environment, and food scientists also. Researchers are trying to make a sustainable fertilizer with an alternative approach employing an electrolyte. In the end, we can say that chemistry is all around us, but the thing is that observe it carefully and notice everything around us. We should appreciate the work of scientists who observed those things and brought it to us. As we go through this webinar, we shall be able to learn and know about it. I wish greater success of this webinar. Once again, I welcome all of you. We are thankful to our I2SC coordinator, Dr. Joydeep Roy. Lastly, I congratulate all the faculties of Department of Chemistry and other faculty of different department of Kandiraj College. Without their support and encouragement, it would not be possible. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your illuminating and inspiring words. So, we are going to start the first lecture of today's webinar by Dr. Chondi Charan Malakar, who is presently working as an assistant professor of chemistry, Department of Basic Science and Humanities, NIT Manipur. He did his MSc from IIT Kanpur and started working as a research fellow at LMU Munich, Germany. He got his doctoral degree from University of Hohenheim, followed by successive postdoctoral research stay at University of Antwerp, Belgium, and University of Heidelberg, Germany. He joined a Canadian pharmaceutical company, Signal Chem Life Sciences Private Limited, as senior principal scientist. Afterwards, he worked as a research associate at IISc Bangalore and as an assistant professor on Jalandhar. He has achieved several awards and fellowships such as MCM Scholarship at IIT Kanpur, BOF IWO Postdoctoral Fellowship at University of Antwerp, Pegasus Marie Curie Postdoctoral Fellowship, PBC Postdoctoral Fellowship at Technion, Israel Institute of Technology, and several research grants. His current research target his current research targets on developing novel methodologies on transition metal catalysis, carbon hydrogen activation, organocatalysis, frustrated Lewis pairs, cooperative dual catalysis, asymmetric catalysis, chemistry of heterocycles, and green chemistry. He has published more than 70 research articles in different international peer-reviewed journals. So we are eagerly waiting for your session, Dr. Malakar. Over to you, sir.
So thank you very much. Good morning, all of you, and giving me this opportunity. I must thank the organizer for such an wonderful program, and obviously to be an ingredient of this program. I'm really glad. And special thanks goes to Mr. Pradeep, so whom I know very well from very long time, and just he approached me one day and just requesting whether I could be able to deliver some lecture for your students, and I readily accepted that invitation, although I have actually after 1.5 hours, after 2-hour flights. So thank you very much once again, and this is really for students, the lecture is, and I hope that will be really helpful for student. Pradeep also requested me basically that if I could talk something in Bengali, somewhere I will try, but I hope that it will be not any problem for any student, because I'll just talk in a very simple manner and very slowly so that you could be able to understand. And I'll be relying on the topic, suppose seeking opportunities in growing research career, scope and hurdles. So I'll just try to brief out several things in one pot. And as I told, this is helpful for student, and this is completely based for student. So when we think about any chemical transformation, new chemical transformation, suppose, or we develop a new chemical transformation, we should follow this development using cheap and simple starting material, and that should be atom economic and sustainable. What does it mean by atom economic? So atom economic means, suppose I take a very complex molecule, suppose I take a very big molecule, okay, or very complex and expensive molecule. Am I audible nicely?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So if we take, suppose, a very complex and expensive molecule, and then we try to do the chemical transformation, and in every chemical transformation we are getting some product, suppose. So the atom economy, that means in your starting molecule, how many atoms, or in a complex situation, how atoms are situated in the starting molecule, that should be written in the product. That means you should not lose your part of substrate as a byproduct. Okay, so suppose I'm just trying to invent a chemical transformation from A to B. Okay, from A starting material I am getting product B. That means the byproduct like C should be very minor. Okay, so this is what called atom economic. And sustainable, what does it mean by sustainable? So when we invent any chemical transformation using starting material A to B, that means we need some reagents. We need some reagent to perform that reaction. So the reagents should be environmentally benign and also low cost and easily available. Okay, so these are the parameters for sustainability. And as we have already studied, you guys have already studied in your classes, that any chemical transformation, there are several protocols to do. One of them is like transition metal catalysis, then organic catalysis, enzyme catalysis, And those chemical transformations using this method we can employ in the asymmetric synthesis. Okay, asymmetric synthesis means what we can tell basically using chiral pool and chiral auxiliaries and chiral catalysis, we get the chiral product. Okay, and finally, what is the motto basically? The motto for every development is the societal benefit. So in chemistry, most of the work goes for the healthcare. This is for natural products and drug molecule. And we are very much familiar with like type of catalysis, homogeneous catalysis. We know what is homogeneous catalysis. Suppose when your reaction is done in a solution phase, okay, and your starting material, product, your catalyst, your reagents, everything's dissolve in a single phase in a solvent. Okay, that's called homogeneous catalysis. And after the completion of the reaction in the homogeneous catalysis, what we need to do? We need to purify the product by different purification technique. And then heterogeneous catalysis. What is heterogeneous catalysis? We do the reaction in a solid phase. Okay, you might have solid phase, you might have solution phase. So both phase does not mix. Your catalyst may be lying on the solid phase, and the reaction is finished over the solid phase, and then your product comes to the solution phase or the liquid phase. Okay, so what is the advantage over homogeneous catalysis? Because here we do not lose much catalyst, and we can separate the catalyst very easily by filtering. Simply you can filter because your catalyst is lying in the solid phase. If we just filter it, your solution phase will go out. That means your product will be relying on solution phase, and you can get it easily in the pure form. So then one more term which I don't know, you may know, release and catch catalysis. So we know homogeneous catalysis, we know heterogeneous catalysis, and this is just interface between that. This is neither homogeneous nor heterogeneous. So how it works basically, you see here, we take a solid support, and then on the solid support, through any pincer or binder, we bind the catalyst. That means catalyst is bound to the pincer or binder. That binder is once again attached to the solid support. Now what is the beauty? You see these black boxes. This black boxes means we can remove it basically easily. We can remove this one easily when the condition comes. That means who is developing this condition? Your reactant will insist this attachment
Your
to
speed is
cleave. Yes.
your screen sharing is not displayed.
My slide is not there.
No.
My slide is not there.
No.
I have already shared the slide. You should tell me before. No, I thought the slide is there.
But
Okay,
it is not
sorry,
displayed.
just a minute. Yes. But I have. Okay, I'm disconnecting 1 second and rejoining. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Now
okay,
it is
is
there.
visible.
Yes, now it is visible.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience. I shared already. I thought it is there already. Okay, so what we are talking here, we know homogeneous catalysis, we know heterogeneous catalysis, and in between that, it is release and catch catalysis. So what is release and catch catalysis? We told we take a support and then we take a binder, and through the binder we bind the catalyst. That means the catalyst is bind to the binder, and there is an attachment where if the situation comes, that means the support can release the binder and the catalyst can react to the reactant in the solution phase. And when reactant goes to product, that means all reactants are finished. So your binder and catalyst can once again go back to the solid support. So this is the interface between homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis. So slide is visible, I think. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yes.
So now what basically the motto that chemists keep on developing new chemical transformations. Okay, so why to do that? Basically the only basic need is the healthcare and the societal development. So one of the problem in healthcare, so what we face is the diseases. So if we see, suppose the condition of the diseases, so I'm showing you the data from 2017, so it remains almost same. The number of death cause worldwide, that is in 2017, is cardiovascular disease. Second is cancer, and third is respiratory disease. I'm not going beyond that. So if you see in India, the first one is also here, the cardiovascular disease. But here in case of India's respiratory diseases take the second position, and cancer goes in the third position. And indeed, if we see the share of death cause in worldwide, it remains also same. The cardiovascular diseases, then due to the cancer, then due to the respiratory diseases. And in case of India, what we see here also cardiovascular diseases, and then respiratory diseases and cancer. It follow the sequences. Okay, so what does it mean? That means there are lot of need for the development of new drug. Okay, and you might know lot of active pharma industries in India. Even some academic researcher are continuously behind that. So the major contribution, although in India it comes from the pharma industry for the drug development, okay, but the method development, the major contribution also comes from the Indian researchers. Okay, so that means the drug development and the novel chemical transformation discovery is well important and equally important. I'll show you some slides also later, you can see that. So now you see, as I told, that the pharma industries in India are really growing in case of drug discovery. You see from financial year from 2012 to 2018, the pharmaceutical export from India to different countries has exponentially increased. Okay, whereas it was in 2012 only 10.1 US billion, and in 2018 that increases up to 17 US billion dollars. And you see which pharma industry, this is very important for the students. You at least know some pharma industry's name, because after your graduation, your masters, or somebody will do PhD also, you need to know also which kind of opportunities you have apart from your academic research laboratory. Okay, so you see the major contribution comes from Aurobindo Pharma. Okay, so in 2018 market revenue, it is generated in crores, that is. Okay, so you see from Aurobindo Pharma figure is more basically. Then you have also Lupin, Reddy's Laboratory, you might have seen behind some tablets or in some syrup bottle. You might have seen that Reddy's Laboratory, Lupin, Aurobindo Pharma. You have Cipla also, you see. Cipla, you have Sun Pharma, Cadila Healthcare, okay, Torrent Pharma. So these are the major pharma industry situated, their branch situated in India, and the revenue has been also generated by this company because the productivity is also good and the innovation. They also work not only the manufacturing, they work also some of the organization, they work also on the innovations. Okay, so although you see this is a nice figure, nice to see, but pharma industries also has some problem. They also face some problem, rather to say. So what are the problems? The major problem is manufacturing cost. Okay, so this is what we are talking in the first slide: atom economy and sustainability. Okay, simple and cheap starting materials. These 3 points you see, these are very important point. So that's how the manufacturing cost also related to that. Suppose your raw materials is not cheap, so the for the development or for the manufacturing of any drug molecule, when you are using a method, a chemical transformation, you are using indeed plenty of your starting materials. These are raw materials. If your raw materials are not cheap, then how your product will be cheap? That means finally when it is coming to the society in the form of medicine, then how it will be cheap? Okay, so that is called the manufacturing cost. So it is a major problem. Second one is poor scientific productivity. Okay, what does it mean by poor scientific productivity? Suppose I have developed a chemical transformation today and I have patented that one. That means when a pharma industry will use that method, they have to buy it, they have to license it. Okay, and not only the licensed product, if the method available in the previously reported literature and the pharma industry is using that one, if the methods are not properly reported, okay, that means today suppose I have reported from from the raw materials A, I will be getting the product B, okay, and I confidently report that there is no other impurities will form in the reaction. So that means what? When the industry people or any other people will employ my method, they will think my method is clean. I'll get from A only B. But when they will realize that method that from A rather than getting only B, there might be also forming C, D, E, F and whatsoever impurities. Okay, that means what? That means the scientific method what we have reported, so this is not really reproducible. Okay, so this is this is one factor, and poor scientific productivity that also relates to the manpower. Okay, so the manpower which pharma industry use, that can be also correlated. So another one is entering in the new market. Okay, entering in the new market, that means before we do something, we need to know the market of or the demand of that product. Then by bottoming up those exercise, we can actually go for a particular product. So cultural cirrhosis. What is cultural cirrhosis? So that is just social and that relates to social and professional culture, that is actually within the actually employees and some surroundings, other factors. So you can understand that which kind of cultural factors can affect the organization. So generic farm, okay, the rising customer expectation, and drug licensing. So drug licensing also a problem. I will come in my last slide if time permits. You will see that the drug licensing also a major problem. It takes a lot of time. Okay, so apart from all these factors, so you see India pharmaceutical exports, actually it goes to Africa, or it goes to North America is most, then it goes to Africa 20%, okay, then it goes to even other countries. Total other countries is 31%. So, and European Union, it goes to 15%. That means it most goes to 34% to North America, then it goes to Africa 20%, and 15% is goes to European Union, and overall rest of the countries is goes to 31% in total. So this is not a bad achievement, and you know during the coronavirus pandemic, still the pandemic indeed going on, and India has performed very good in terms of vaccination services and vaccination development. So you know all these things you have heard. Okay. But apart from all these things, for students, you must really know this data. So you see, we perform very good. So although you see what is written, scientific workforce in India compared to countries leading in the research, and researcher per 10,000 labor force in India is only 4. Okay, That is 2015 data, but I hope the data will be much worse if we take the current data. Okay, because in last 3 years, this has drastically affected. You see, even Kenya, which we think about a bit backward country, they have even more than us. Chile, okay, Brazil, that is also not much more developed than India. So, and forget about China and forget about United States and United Kingdom. So then where we are situating in very down in terms of researcher, number of researchers basically. Once again, you see one more data. Am I audible nicely? Am I?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So once again,
Yes,
one more
sir.
data you see, the spending per researcher in various countries in terms of USD, PPP USD. So United States, it spent approx $342. Okay, and then where is India? 171. Okay, see, this is also in comparison to other countries like Germany, US, Austria, even in Italy, Japan, we are much more lower in spending. So that matters indeed. Okay, because everything depends upon how much we spend, and according to that we get outcome. So you see, this problem what I have shown, it actually affects, is not problem, but don't take it in different manner. This is our the strategy actually it is implemented in India. Okay, so the contribution in drug discovery. So this is why, because of this problem actually, because of these issues, the researcher from academic cannot contribute much toward drug discovery because it needs a lot of money. This is why you see the contribution from industry, it's 60%, and where's coming from academician, only 8%. That means we are far behind. Okay, you should know. Then after your graduation, after your masters, how you should prepare yourself to crack all these struggle, to crack all these hurdles and to get some good job. So we talk about method development, we talk something about our some problems and some opportunities. Then we need to know basically when we talk about drug molecule, when you are talking about drug molecule, the maximum of your drug molecule contains heterocyclic molecules. What does it mean by heterocyclic molecule? So when you have any heteroatom in the ring, in any size of the ring, it can be saturated, it can be unsaturated heterocycles, it can be aromatic, it can be non-aromatic. Okay, irrespective of any ring size. So you see, continuously this field, the research on heterocycles is also increasing. To 2019 the data is given. Okay, few folds increment is obviously there. Okay, so that means the heterocycles is very powerful scaffold for your drug molecule. because many of the drug molecule has, or most of the drug molecule, I should tell rather, has the heterocyclic scaffold in its structure. So you see here a very comprehensive report. So let me, yeah. So you see comprehensive report for your occurrence of heterocyclic moieties in drug. You see 3 and 4 membered 74 drug molecule we find. Maybe number will be little bit more. This is last year or this is few years back data. Okay, I have updated even from this. You see here from 5, if you see the 5-membered ring size, so non-aromatic molecule embedded with drug, this is 94. And if you think of aromatic, it is also considerable amount, 154. If you go to 6-membered, you see the non-aromatic number is more in the drug molecule. Okay, and the aromatic is little bit less. Then 7-membered, 8-membered, 7 and 8-membered, and fused bicyclic and macrocyclic. So this is a comprehensive report from each size of the heterocycles, how it occur in the drug. Now you see here, whatever we have talked
Yes, sir.
about, yes, yes, any problem? Is somebody telling something?
No, sir. Not any problem.
Okay, thank you. So suppose here, from this figure you have understood something, then you see here the drug molecule based on heterocycles. So nitrogen based compounds occurred in the drug molecule approx 73%. Okay, nitrogen sulfur based compound 4%, nitrogen oxygen based compound 15%, oxygen based compound 8%. Okay, that means the nitrogen molecules, the nitrogen containing heterocycles are very important. And you see 6-membered nitrogen heterocycles. I have also given the specific data like piperidine. This is 19%. Pyridine, next, piperazine, pyrimidine, okay, and so on. And if you see the 5-membered 10 heterocycles, here you see pyrrolidine is the most. Then thiazole, imidazole, okay, this will be indole, tetrazole, okay, and all these scaffolds are very important. Okay, so in terms of your drug discovery and drug molecules, structure of drug molecules. Now, so when we want to develop a drug molecule or any method, catalysis is also important. This is what we talked in the first slide. What we are going to see actually. So if you see here, the organocatalysis is the recent topic of interest. Enzyme catalysis is from ancient time. People know organocatalysis is recent topic, and also you know the transition metal chemistry. Transition metal chemistry is also is not like enzyme catalysis, it is millions year old, but it is relatively known field from hundreds of years. Okay, now if you see the recent news in which topic the Nobel Prize has been awarded by two chemists from Israel and from Germany, this asymmetric organocatalysis. Okay, so that means this is a field of upcoming interest. Okay, now apart from this enzyme catalysis, transition metal catalysis, organocatalysis, there are different other kind of catalysis, and some, yeah, like nanocatalysis, supported catalysis, biocatalysis. Okay, so all these things you'll come to know with your advanced studies. I'm not going in deep on these things. Okay, so the organocatalysis you see from 2009 to 2018, I have given data. This is also the continuously increasing field. And the types of organocatalysis, because if we, different type of actually organic molecules are available, which we can use as organocatalyst. So you know proline derivative, proline is your amino acid, cinchona, you know, cinchona is your alkaloid, thiourea, that is just urea derivative, phosphoric acid, you know, and carbene also you heard sometime, I hope. So these are all used as molecule for organocatalyst. Okay, so there are few important reactions, so on which basically many things depend. Suppose from oil, how can we convert to polymer? Because polymers are used in many fields. This is societal need nowadays. So mixed nitrogen oxide gases, how it can be converted to nitrogen and oxygen, so that nitrogen fixation can be done. Okay, from sugar, how it can be produced carbon dioxide and water. Okay, generally we need the carbon dioxide, and this is the one very important reaction in energy. And the chemical like which is not drug, how can we convert directly to the drug molecule by easily available or easily actually implemented method. Okay, so what is common actually in these cases? One, we can think these are depend upon what? Oxidation reduction reactions, and if the catalyst play a role inside this transformation, so it is not that these are not existing, these are all existing in several forms of the reaction. So nitrogen oxide to nitrogen and oxygen, this is well known, but how to develop a new or sustainable atom economic method, as I told in the beginning, so that matters. So that means the revision and upgradation of the current or existing method is very much important for the societal benefit. So as we told, the catalyst or novel catalyst, new catalyst can do this job efficiently, okay, and sustainably. So we know about the catalyst. What is important catalyst? If you see a conventional reaction and if you see the catalytic reaction, what we what advantage we have generally here? We lower the energy barrier of the reaction, and the reaction, if your conventional reaction works at 200 degrees centigrade, suppose, and if you use a catalyst, the reaction may go at room temperature also. Okay, so these are because you lower the activation energy or energy barrier of the transition state. Okay, so what else we get? Higher selectivities and higher activities, improved raw materials and energy usage, which gives minimization of waste. That means the byproduct will form less, because when we have catalyst in the reaction mixture, so what is the purpose of using catalyst? That means we are trying to favor the selective transition state which will form in the reaction, and that from the transition state or intermediate, it will give the specific product. Okay, so that means the selectivity is implemented so that the byproduct will not form. If byproduct is not forming, that means the minimization in the waste will happen. And economically, it is also important, because if we need to do any conventional reaction with higher amount of reagents, and catalyst can decrease that amount, and the economical approach can be also improved. So what is happening, you see, using the catalytic approaches in industry, the total product value approx, it goes 2.5 mul 10 to the power 6 million US$. Okay, so that means where it is going, who are the beneficiaries? Okay, the chemical sector it goes, polymer sector is goes, environmental sector and refinery sector. In all these sectors, actually catalysis is effectively employed. Even the, as we already told, for the drug discovery also, it is effectively employed. So these are the catalysis I have already talked. What should be the ideal chemical synthesis then? From this concept, what you can understand: produce minimum waste, use available feedstock. That means from the, we do not, when we want to develop for a chemical transformation from a starting material to the valuable product, we do not need to look for the complex raw materials. Rather, if we can do the same transformation or the same chemical reaction using a very simple reagents, simple chemical available even in your BSc lab, that is more useful, or I need to buy a very fancy chemical from outside sources and we do the reaction and get the same product, that is useful. So obviously the first one will be more useful. Okay, so apply energy efficient processes with 100% atom economy. Okay, so those can be done also with domino reactions and multi-component reactions. So highly selective like radioselective, chemoselective and stereoselective reactions, okay, with 100% yield of the product, and perform reactions in standard equipment. Don't use very highly sophisticated and it cost few crores, maybe few millions of dollar. So we have to avoid those concepts basically. Although it does not happen, I know that, but we try to minimize how much we can. We need to use the simple equipment or apparatus or instrument so that we can perform the reactions which can be readily benefited to the society. So industrial challenges, if you see the current industrial challenges, the reaction might look very easy for you. See, the low temperature oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide. But these are not so easy. High conversion of selective production of olefin from alkanes. So if you take alkane, okay, simple alkane, suppose you take ethane, and to convert it to ethylene, it is just a matter of one bond, one pi bond, introduction of one pi bond, okay, but that is a very painful reaction, not so easy. Facile decomposition of mixed nitrogen oxide, low temperature epoxidation of ethylene. You know the epoxidation is very easy. We treat an alkene with MCPBA, and then we get the epoxide. That's what we write the mechanism. Okay, but these are not fancy reaction. If it goes to the industrial, what industry want? What we want in the, what we write on the paper, and what we write, what we do in the research laboratory, industry has completely different motto. Different motto means what? The raw material should be easy available, as I told. It should be low cost and environmentally benign. That means if we have to avoid the peroxide also, that is better, because so far the epoxidation in large scale cannot be done without peroxides. Okay, that should be avoided. Direct peroxide synthesis from hydrogen and oxygen. Can it be done? It's not so easy. Phenol from benzene and oxygen. We write a very simple structure for phenol. We just benzene ring, then OH. But can we prepare that from simple benzene ring and oxygen, which is available in the air? Direct synthesis of aromatic amines from ammonia. Selective oxidation of methane to methanol. Okay. Oxidative coupling from methanol to ethylene. And anti-Markovnikov addition of alcohols and amines to olefins. So you know anti-Markovnikov. You think today whether it can be done easily. Anti-Markovnikov addition of alcohols and amines to olefin. Check it today. Apart from your chemical industry, the pharma industry also have some challenges. You see, we already told some of the point. The pharmaceutical market is keep on increasing day by day or year by year. So there are some challenges also, like you see, from 2012 to 2014, several drugs or few drugs, they have lose their patent also. Why they have lose the patent? Because of all the problems what we told in before. Okay, low scientific productivity, okay, and all these other things. That means the serious attention should be given in the sustainable drug development. So how much time I have? Should I stop here?
No, sir. Or 1 or 10 minutes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so that means serious attention should be paid in the drug discovery regarding all those factors what we have already discussed. Now, you see, if you see the process for ibuprofen, you take ibuprofen. For what you take ibuprofen? When you fell down somewhere, you have some pain in your leg or tooth pain, okay? So you take ibuprofen. This is basically the painkiller. We talked already in the last slide how to convert. So you see the earlier method, it has multi-step reaction. Here it shows the 5 steps reaction using peculiar and severe equivalent reagent mixture, and those are not easy to handle basically, and also the overall yield of the product ibuprofen finally is very low. Using catalysis, the method has been revised in 3 steps only, you see, and effectively the reaction, all these 3 reactions work, and finally you get the ibuprofen in high yield, okay, without formation of much impurities. So you see some other things. What is this? Piperidine derivative, okay. So this is a very important scaffold actually for the preparation of important raw materials for the preparation of all these marketed available drugs, okay. So but the previously developed method was relying on simply you take styrene derivative and then you take your hydrogen bromide and simply you do the bromination here, and then you take the NH3 compound and you do the nucleophilic substitution. Here are lot of associated side product formation observed with several other side reactions also. Okay, suppose it can go it can go also to the back to the product by elimination reaction. Okay, and there are a lot of isomerization. So this is why the necessary product, this is the necessary product, basically the yield you see, it is very low, only 50 to 60%. But when this method has been revised using catalytic method, you see no hazardous and ugly reagent like hydrogen bromide. Hydrogen bromide is very ugly, okay. It is corrosive also too much. It is not good for inhaling. But you see, simple your alkali metal salt. So what it gives in a catalytic amount, this can do the job very efficiently with almost quantitative yield. So that means the catalysis has improved those processes. Okay, so should I talk this? I don't know. Okay, I'll just give you a little bit of sense. Okay, little bit of sense very quickly. You see, when we design a drug molecule, okay, let me go to the next slide, then I'll come back. So when we talk about lot that this company has this much profit for drug discovery and these are the difficulties, but how actually difficult the overall job is for the students. You please see this. When you think the medicine comes and you buy it very easily from the nearest pharmaceutical shop with some money, okay, but till it's thought it comes to the market is a huge job. See, when we find, when we target a disease, or that this disease has to be cured, okay, then according to that need, we try to isolate, the scientists, the biologists try to isolate the protein, okay, that is, this subject area is called genomics, proteomics, okay, and all these things. Then isolate the protein, and according to that, chemists do high throughput screening. That means multi-millions of compounds. It can be by today, it can be actually checked very easily in a single day for their activity against the target protein for this, related to this disease, okay. Then once we realize some compounds which can be active, then we do the virtual screening, okay, virtual screening. So that means once again we predict the activity of those compound, and once we understand the activity of the compound, now chemists once again go to the laboratory and do the combinatorial synthesis. You check the term and look at it. Combinatorial synthesis, which can produce a number of molecule very rapidly. We can synthesize, okay. And from that, after the synthesis of some molecule, once again we try to do the molecular modeling, molecular docking. I think you have one expert today from DNA and all. He will explain you in this regard, I hope. So we do the molecular docking. Then from the molecular docking, you understand that which derivative of that can be even more helpful and more active, and according to that you try to find the drug and synthesize it, okay. Then you do the in silico studies, in vitro in silico studies, and you do the preclinical studies. So overall process you see here, it need 2 to 5 years in the beginning, then once again 2 to 5 years, then once again 1 to 3 years, then here is 2 to 10 years, then here is 2 to 3 years. That means overall, from the concept to the market, it need minimum 20 years, 15 to 20 years, okay. So now you can surprise that how effectively scientists have worked to bring your coronavirus vaccination so easily within so short time. So that means there are a lot of opportunities for you student. You do good, learn good, and anything you need, contact your teacher. If necessary, you contact us also. Thank you very much for your kind consideration. Hopefully it was helpful for student.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malakar. It was
Thank you.
excellently and comprehensively prepared presentation. Now the session is I'd like to request to the participants to interact with sir if you have any queries. You may also drop your questions to the chat box.
Yeah, you can drop chat in the chat box. You have my email ID from your teachers. You can get it. You can drop your queries if you want. No issues. In any modes, you can go ahead. So is there any question from participant?
If you have any question, any problem, any question, you can switch on your microphone and talk to sir.
Sir, I'm from Onimus. Sir, I'm Onimus. Am I
Yeah,
audible, sir?
yes,
Okay, sir. Sir, I'm from Political Science Department.
yes, please.
So first of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Principal Madam and the faculties of Chemistry Department for conducting this type of webinar. And also, sir, I want to thank you who have
Thank
delivered
you.
their
Thank you.
valuable speech on this topic. My question is to you, sir.
Yeah.
Can you explain further the importance of catalysts in our society?
See, the important for catalyst in societies, just since you are from political science background, I'll just tell you in a very, non-scientific manner. So suppose from a raw material, I need to get a product. That product is useful for our day-to-day life. Okay. Then what is important? The important is the manufacturing cost. Yes or no? So
Yes.
important is your manufacturing cost. So the manufacturing cost means when we are doing some process, in that process some ingredient is also necessary. Some ingredient is also necessary. Okay, that ingredient has to be cheap. That ingredient has to be cheap and effective. If the ingredient of overall process is cheap and effective, then obviously the product which you are using day-to-day life, that become obviously cheap. Okay. So this is what is very common concept.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is there any other questions?
So if there is no more question, then I should thank.
Sir, I have any question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I am Miyan Kundul from Chemistry Department at Kandiraj College. So, special thanks, Honorable Principal of Kandiraj College, to arrange this webinar and valuable speech of Madam and Sir. So, Sir, please describe the 2 days before the Nobel Prize get Dr. List and Macmillan,
Yeah.
the organocatalyst
Yeah.
of asymmetric organocatalyst. Please describe these things. Describe asymmetric organocatalyst, how to use in green chemistry.
See, organocatalytic process itself is a green chemistry. Okay, because
Yes,
you are not using in the you are not using basically metal based reagent, so that finally after reactions you will have the metal waste. Okay, so now the I do not know how much you have seen and how much you know. The asymmetry, see, your basic concept of organocatalysis is L-proline, that I have shown in the in one of the slide. L-proline is your amino acid, and which is used as a basic organocatalyst for a longer time. Now Professor List and Professor David Macmillan, okay, from Israel. So what they have used, they have basically in the stereoselective synthesis that organocatalysis is employed. In the stereoselective synthesis, the organocatalysis has been employed, and using that, so if you see any complex drug molecule, like have you seen a Taxol, which has been used for the chemotherapy in cancer? So there are multiple stereo centers which are installed sequentially in the molecule. That means what? That means the reaction has to be devised in a very selective manner. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, and also the using basically this your organocatalyst, they have actually devised the protocol in such a way that the purification is very obvious. Okay, and the selection of the product also became very efficient. So that's how the actually advantages for the asymmetric organocatalysis.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So thank
Thank
you
you, sir.
very much, sir. Thank you all the participants for the nice interaction. We will continue the program. Thank you, Dr. Malakar, once
Yeah,
again.
thank you very much. I must thank the Honorable Principal Madam once again and the organizer and Mr. Pradeep for your kind invitation, please. So thank you and have a nice day. I'm disconnecting now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The program. I'd
Dr.
now
Dinabandhu
like
sir already
to.
joined.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
can see him. I would now like to welcome Dr. Dinabandhu Shor, postdoctoral research associate in the Department of Chemistry, Texas A&M University, USA. He completed his MSc from Vidyasagar University. He got his PhD degree from IIT Guwahati. He was also a postdoctoral research associate in the Department of Bioengineering at Urbana-Champaign, USA, in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, Baylor University, Texas, USA, and in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, University of Maryland, USA. Of American Chemical Society. In his doctoral research, he worked on the reactivity of hydrazoles for the synthesis of pyrazoles and nitromethyl sulfones and application of pyrazoles. His research interest includes synthesis of small molecules for biosensing and anti-cancer therapy. He has published 16 different research articles in international peer-reviewed journals. So we are waiting for your lecture, Dr. Continue. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Am I audible to you?
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So first I can share my. Could you please tell me how to share my screen? Because this is new platform for me. I always use different
Okay,
platform.
sir. Are you presenting from your laptop?
Yes.
So at the bottom of the screen, there is a button present now.
Okay.
It is,
Present now.
yeah.
Then a window or entire screen.
You may
In-
share your entire screen. That
Okay.
will be easier for you.
Okay. But why it is here is share option is not coming. No.
No,
I think Windows
uh,
share option is not coming. It's not active.
okay. You just click on your entire screen. Present now, then your entire screen.
Yeah.
Screen will be displayed in a small tab. Click on that tab
Oh, okay. Now
and then proceed. Yes.
How can I see here?
Now you can open your presentation. We will be able
Okay.
to see that. Yeah.
So are you able to see?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Are you able to see that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So good morning to all. So first of all, I want to thank uh, Honorable Principal Madam for inviting me and organizing committee, and special thanks to Dr. Pradeep and for inviting me to share some of my research. And it's great honor to be present, to be here among you, and it's my privilege and great pleasure for sharing some of my current research which is undergoing here in Texas A&M University. So I hope you all are the college student, right? So yeah, so my current research I am showing here that iron catalyzed multi-component cross-coupling of vinyl aryl and alkyl ethers with Grignard reagents and fluoroalkyl halides. So we are interested to do research in alkene. Why is alkene? Now, because alkenes is common motif which are present mostly in pharmaceuticals and natural products, and which can be used as a scaffold for the different organic synthesis. And now the question will arise that whether the alkene can be functionalized or not. Obviously yes, and if it is functionalized, if we can, whether we could able to functionalize monofunctionalization of alkene or difunctionalization of alkene. So in the recent year, the difunctionalization of alkene are most attracted in research area due to cost effective reason, and it can synthesize complex molecule, different complex molecule. So in this vein, now how to synthesize, now question will arise how to synthesize the difunctionalized of difunctionalized alkene. In this vein, the scientists are used mostly transition metal catalyzed cross-coupling reaction. I think you people know what is cross-coupling reaction. This is very well-known reaction. Cross-coupling means just conjugation of these or the construction of any bond by the two fragment, where one should be that Rx means X should be a halogen atom with plus Rm. Rm means the metal fragment with the organic fragment. It can form that conjunct construction of one bond by the fragmentation of the two different fragment in presence of metal catalyst. So in this vein, transition metal catalyzed cross-coupling reaction has been developed, and for that reduced selective transition metal catalyzed reduced selective function difunctionalization of alkene have been used for synthesis of different pharmaceutical active molecules. So for this alkene, so alkene, there's two types of alkene. One is activated alkene, one is unactivated alkene. So people, most of the people they want to use the unactivated alkene, and that alkene which containing the directing group, that called directing group assisted alkene moiety, which can be functionalized. And some people they use the activated alkene, which one that first the Chu and co-worker I showed first reference, that activated alkene vinyl ether. They use activated alkene in presence of nickel catalyst and iridium catalyst in presence of light, and they functionalize that alkene moiety. And recently our group has developed this 1,2-difunctionalization of this moiety by using that very strain molecule with called vinyl cyclopropane group, vinyl cyclopropyl. Am I audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So they use that strain molecule vinyl cyclopropyl group and to form the corresponding 1,2-dicarbofunctionalization product. And next, we thought why we'll use that strain molecule, we should use that some relaxed molecule. So next we thought, okay, we could use that unactivated alkene, phenylbutene. That below example, we use unactivated alkene to synthesize that 1,2-dicarbofunctionalization
Sorry
base.
to interrupt you, sir. Can you please present your presentation in full screen mode?
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
please click on that hide option coming at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
I think now it's okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes. So yeah. So next we thought, why not we could use that unactivated alkene. This is very strain-free alkene, relax molecule. So next we did unactivated alkene with trimethoxy. With alkyl halide. With alkyl halide and the Grignard reagent in presence of iron catalyst. And yeah, so in this case, so there is one drawback in this reaction. What is the drawback? The drawback is we use 14 equivalent of alkene. So because why we increase the concentration of alkene? Because that alkene in this reaction, we need to increase the concentration of alkene, because to drive that first that alkyl radical will form. That alkyl radical, we drive the alkyl radical to react with that tert butyl radical. It is called Zeiss radical addition, 1,2 addition, the Zeiss radical addition. We drive the reaction by increasing the concentration of alkene to form that form that Zeiss addition reaction. So that's why we use 14 equivalent of alkene. So we are interested iron catalyst. Why we interested iron catalyst? Now, because iron is readily available as metal salt in different oxidation state. All the metal salts are very cheap and less toxic compared to other transition metals, and it could be beneficial for construction of carbon-carbon or carbon heteroatom bond formation reaction. So next we thought, okay, so that disadvantage of this earlier slide I told you that they use 14 equivalent of alkene. So we want to decrease the amount of alkene. So how to do that? And then we search the literature, and we have observed that most of the difunctionalized compound with the ether, with containing oxygen substituent, oxygen atom containing difunctionalized molecule, are used as a antidepressive agent and used as a other pharmaceutical importance compound. So then we thought, okay, we can also do some activated alkene. So if oxygen X equal to oxygen or sulfur, then we could do this, will call vinyl ether, alkyl or aryl vinyl ether. So then it might decrease the amount of alkene concentration. Then we did 1,2-3 component regioselective 1,2-dicarbofunctionalized reaction with in presence of iron catalyst and THF solvent. So this, because this our synthesized compound, it might be analog of the corresponding antidepressing agent or the other ether functionalized product. So next, for that first of all, any reaction, before moving the reaction to synthesize the molecule, first we are synthetic chemist. First we need to synthesize, we need to optimize the reaction condition, in which condition the reaction we get the good yield. So for that we optimize the reaction condition, and we observe in 4 equivalent of alkene, that vinyl ether, that is called, here we use vinyl ether. So this is aryl alkene. So we use vinyl ether 4 equivalent here. So as you can see, so previously we used 14 equivalent, but here we use 4 equivalent. Why it is like that? Because here the radical form in the alpha radical, which is called alpha oxy radical, that alpha oxy radical stabilize the system. This is more stable radical, so that the Gies addition with 1A and 2A, that radical form tert butyl iodide, it formed the tert butyl radical. The tert butyl radical, it attack that alpha position to form the Gies addition. So that's why it needed very lower amount of alkene, because it stabilized that alpha radical. And actually we use 4 equivalent of alkene, but we, after the reaction, we recovered 2.4 equivalent of alkene. That means 1.6 equivalent is only needed to drive the reaction forward and to get the corresponding product. And for that reaction we optimize several conditions for several iron source. As you can see here, that iron bromide, iron chloride, iron triplet, or triplet and without iron, and with different solvent, and after that with different ligand. And here we observe in presence of tetracyclohexane bisphosphine ethane is the most favorable ligand for this for the conversion of this 1,2-dicarbofunctionalization product, and we got 75% is the most yield for this reaction in this condition. And here we use only 3 mole%. This is very low amount of iron loading, very low amount of iron catalyst we use, 3 mole%, and we use ligand 12 mole%, and in presence of THF, and it is only for 1 hour reaction. Here I shown how we synthesize that molecule, how we set up the reaction. Here it is the syringe pump, here dropwise, so that when we are adding Grignard reagent as a nucleophile, Grignard reagent when we are adding in the reaction mixture, we need to add very slowly, dropwise. So that's why we use syringe pump to do the reaction. And here below it is ice bath. So yeah, so this is the reaction demo I showed here. So next we to show that our reaction is our protocol, whatever we have done, we have optimized, that is compatible for other reagent, other substrate or not. So for that we synthesize, we change different Grignard nucleophile. So for that we use different electron donating, means electron rich, like methoxy, methyl, dimethyl, phenyl, OPH, and both cases it gives a good and moderate yield. And then we also use electron deficient Grignard reagent, that is the parachloro, metachloro, and then also it gives the good yield and moderate yield. And next we use electron poor Grignard reagent like parafluoro, paradichloro, paraCF3. It also compatible in this reaction condition and give them moderate yield. So here I want to mention why we use always 3 position, meta position and the para position. Why don't you use ortho position? Because we tried with ortho position, ortho substituted Grignard reagent, but we couldn't able to get the product because due to the presence of steric effect between the ortho substituted and the tart butyl group. So next we did the scope of the alkyl halide. We changed the alkyl halide, different alkyl halide with X equal to iodo, bromo, chloro, and we studied adamantyl group in very strain moiety, adamantyl iodo, adamantyl bromide, bromo, it gives the good yield. And next we did fluorine containing atom. Why we introduce fluorine group? Because 20% drugs in the market are at least contain at least one fluorine atom. So fluorine atom is very important in the drug molecule. Most of the drugs they are contain the fluorine atom. So that's why we are also inspired for synthesizing some analog of the drug. So to introduce the fluorine molecule here, so we introduce as much as possible fluorinated substrate, and then we introduce here 15 fluorine atom but in this case, and I want to mention here that most of the fluorinated substrate here, when we use that here the X equal to bromine, the bromine substituted fluorinated compound, it gives the good yield compared to iodo substituted. So it gives, so we studied different fluorinated substrate here, and gratifyingly we got that very good, moderate yield in presence of chlorinated substrate, because most of the cases chlorinated substrate are not giving the good yield, not undergo the reaction because it is a little bit inert compared to bromo or iodo. But in this case, in this reaction condition, the chlorinated substrate containing chlorinated substrate also gives the good yield. So next we showed here the scope of the vinyl ether. So we don't want to restrict, or we want to don't want to restrict that substrate scope. So that's why we change the oxygen in we replace here sulfur or silicon also. Here I have not showed here that silicon atom, but we have done the silicon containing substrate also. And we observe both alkyl group and aryl group substituted vinyl ether. Previously I showed all the aryl substituted vinyl ether. Now here you can see that all the substrates are alkyl substituent, and long chain alkyl substituent like up to 14 14 CH2 groups. Long chain substrate also it gives the good yield. And next we introduce the sulfur containing group, the sulfur containing vinyl ether, and it gives the corresponding vinyl alkene, vinyl sulfur containing vinyl group, it gives the corresponding product. And here, and next here we also showed here that internal alkene, that 2,4-dihydropyran internal alkene also undergoes in this reaction condition to give the corresponding product. But in this case, it possible there is a cis-OH trans. So we did NMR experiment, and from the NMR 2D experiment NOSI spectra, we observed that there's no interaction between the two axial hydrogen atoms. So that means this is a trans isomer. So why we did this reaction, internal alkene? Because in these cases, it might opens the formation of the C-aryl glycosides from carbohydrate derivatives. So it might be the pharmaceutical important compound. Next, to show that versatility of the reaction, and the reaction it can show. Previously we did the racemic version. Now we want to do that chiral version, that is asymmetric version, enantioselective synthesis. That enantioselectivity, to show the enantioselectivity, we studied with chiral ligand. Bench P is a chiral ligand, and we studied the reaction in the similar condition. Here little bit condition we change 5 mole% and 10 mole%, and we observe that good enantiomeric ratio 75:25% with a good yield. So our protocol is efficient for the enantiomeric synthesis of enantiomeric compound also. So next, to show the industrial application or the scalability of the reaction, why means our always all the synthetic chemists always they are targeting to synthesize how to simplify their reaction condition, how to scale up the reaction, because ultimately we want to sell this product, we want to do the something with this industrial purpose. So that's why we want to always think how to synthesize the gram scale reaction. So for that, to show that our reaction condition also effective for the gram scale, so show this, we did the gram scale reaction with 1 gram scale and we got 1.02 gram product with 66% yield. So yeah, so next I want to conclude that why that iron means we have developed iron catalyze reduce selective 1,2 dicarbofunctionalization of vinyl ethers with alkyl halides or fluoroalkyl halides and aryl Grignard reagents, and this method can introduce fluoroalkyl groups to a vinyl ether in a one-step synthesis, whereby molecular complexity can be rapidly increased and its mild reaction condition is a broad substrate scope. Yeah, so this is my acknowledgement slide. I want to thank my PhD supervisor from IIT Guwahati, T. Punyamurthy, and my PDF supervisor, Dipanjan Pan, and Osvaldo Guterres, now my current PDF supervisor, and Brian Lindley, my Baylor University PhD supervisor, PDF supervisor, and Dr. Professor Amit Bosak in IIT Kharagpur, Subhendu Shekhar Bagh, IIT Guwahati, and Department of Chemistry, IIT Guwahati, Department University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Texas A&M University, my current university, and Baylor University, and yeah. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for your
Thank
nice presentation. The session
you.
is now open for discussion. I request all the participants please interact with Dr. Shor. And if you have any question, you can also post your questions in.
Yes, ma'am. I am Arijit Pal. Sir,
Yes,
I
please
am
go
Arijit
ahead.
Pal,
Yeah.
a student of Department of Chemistry.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for delivering your valuable speech. Thank you
Thank you.
also to our principal, ma'am. My question is to you that can any other transition metal except iron be used in this type of reaction that you have shown in your slide?
Yeah, so nickel is the other catalyst that can be useful for this reaction, in this reaction. And nickel and iridium also is useful, means it can also undergo the reaction, but nickel and iridium, they need some photocatalyst for this reaction. But some these types of reaction, if you want to change little bit, then might not be needed photocatalyst. That depends on reaction. So yeah, so nickel, iridium, these are the other option for this catalyst, for this reaction.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Any other questions from anyone?
I announced one sentence in USA. This is midnight.
Yeah,
You
now
know,
it's 1:20 AM.
120.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you.
It's okay, no problem. Thank you all.
Okay, so
Anita madam,
students,
you can-
if you have any question, you can ask in any language of your preference to sir.
Yeah, no problem. I am also Bengali.
Yeah,
So
you
no
can
problem.
also
You can
ask
ask.
any question in Bengali if you prefer. Please interact.
So sorry, I first
So,
I thought this is only 30 minutes, so I did not make more slides for that. And Pradeep told me, I think 30 minutes or 35 minutes. Now then I saw is 50 minutes, so that's why I shortened
no,
my.
it's okay, sir. It's absolutely okay. Your presentation was very informative, and it was a
Thank you.
very nice presentation. So thank you very much, Dr. Shaw.
Thank you all for attending this, and thank you again for inviting me in this webinar. And yeah, I really
Okay,
appreciate it.
so
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
okay, so we are now closing this session, and we are going for a lunch break. We will be right back after the lunch break at 2:45 p.m. Students, please join within 2:50 so that we can start our next session uh, from 3 p.m. onwards. So
Okay, thank
thank you
you.
all.
I am leaving now. Good day.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.